Hi everyone, this is Chris with the Reef Project. 6 years ago, I formed a group of some of the brightest minds in the ocean community, people really looking into the futures of our oceans. We thought, how can we make more life in the sea to offset human impacts? Because so much of the sea is just empty mud, like you see in front of you. And the conclusion we came to was to create more reef structure using reef balls. In 2012, a number of reef balls were deployed off Hendry's Beach in Santa Barbara, California, and this is what they look like after just 18 months on the sea floor. There's lots of fish, there's lots of scallops, there's lots of giant kelp, there's octopi, there's lobster. There's substantially more life than there was before we put the reef balls down. It's amazing to think that you can just stimulate the ocean by adding complex structure. There's a nice octopus. And this is what it'll look like in a few years once you put down about 1,500 reef balls. We're still working hard in California, but our path has led us to the South Pacific. We're going down in a sub to take a look at artificial reef structure in front of Oahu. This is Reefy, our patron saint. He goes everywhere with me, and he's a little bit sneaky. He tends to pop up in certain places where he's not expected. After a while, we decided to develop a political base. So we headed to Kingston, Jamaica to join the United Nations International Seabed Authority, where we were voted in by 160 sovereign nations as permanent observers to the United Nations Seabed Authority. Here's the Secretary General saying, "Hey, what took you so long?" We also found out that the people of Jamaica badly want new reefs, mostly to enhance fish stocks. Then it was off to Tokyo, Japan to talk to the government about making reefs. And then off to Korea. This is the demilitarized zone. We were working with the government and private interests there to expand reefs. This is a deep sea mining machine. Then it was off to Beijing, China to work with the government there. They were very interested in helping us expand our mission to make reefs all over the world, especially in the South Pacific. Here's Reefy keeping it real. He's hiding from the Mongolians. I don't know why, but all of a sudden, I had a sudden urge to join the Chinese military. And they liked the idea so much, they made me emperor for a day. Then I was off to Singapore, where the air quality is kind of tough. More government meetings there. So many hundreds, if not thousands of people have joined together to make the Reef Project a global success. It spanned all walks of life, all interests, environmental, fishing, private interests, governmental, all age groups. Everybody just sees the incredible benefit that the Reef Project has to offer, including Hollywood. Hi, Ricky Schroeder. Nothing makes a young man or woman more proud than catching a fish to feed their family. Old men too. It's all about maintaining the connection. Next, we headed off to Great Britain, where they really like the color red. We were there at a deep sea mining conference to talk to folks who are going to be pulling minerals out of 15,000 feet of water about the impacts their industry may have on the ocean. And then off to Hamburg, Germany, where we did the same for the marine cable community. Look closely, Reefy snuck up on the table. At times it's been exhausting. So we headed to Rarotonga of the Cook Islands. This is Arataki Lagoon in one of the outer islands. It's one of the most pristine lagoons in the entire South Pacific. The government and the people of the Cook Islands wanted us to have a look around to see how the Reef Project and reef balls can help benefit the amazing pristine marine ecosystem that they have there. There's a lot of sand on the bottom, and where there's hard bottom, you find giant clams, you find a lot of coral, you find a good amount of fish. Although if they had more cave area, like the reef balls have, you would have more big fish, more food fish. That's the giant clam. They have a great number of beautiful corals. Most of them are low-lying to put up with the wave energy. This is a giant trevally. He actually ate my buddy's GoPro camera while we were there. It was floating on the surface and he sucked it down. I didn't need any GoPro. I'd hate to see what that footage looks like. There's a little bit of coral bleaching in the Cook Islands. There's some effect from the recent El Niños. This is a good example of what a reef ball might look like. It's about the same size. That's a parrotfish. And where there's coral, there's fish. The coral provides cover for the fish and for turtles. So the more coral and protective area we make, the more area there is for all the marine creatures. In the shallow lagoons, you get encrusting coral like this, and you'll see that on reef balls too. Coral's tenacious. It grows on any hard substrate. And in 60 feet of water, just outside the harbor of Rarotonga, we found a beautiful sand patch that'll be ideal for about a 5-acre fish reef. As you can see, where the natural reef gives way into the sand patch is just the ideal spot in the interface. And we'll get lots of corals. This was the only crown of thorn starfish that I found. I chopped it up and fed it to this triggerfish to make sure it didn't eat any more coral. Now these amazing Alice in Wonderland like mushroom corals down there, but they need more cave area, so there's more big fish, more food fish for subsistence fishing. This spot's called Anchor. I don't know why. There is some concern about the effects of El Nino on their lagoon, so I met with Prime Minister Henry Puna, a man who cares deeply about the marine ecology of his island nation. And here's Reefy looking at his future domain of the Cook Islands. He's having a drink. He's turned upside down. Now it's off to Sydney, Australia to talk to mining and oil folks, try to get some support and explain to them about the impacts that their industries have on the marine ecosystem and how we can work together to help undo those impacts. There's the Prime Minister of Papua New Guinea, and Reefy's having a shrimp on the barbie and a beer after a hard day's handshaking. This is Dr. William Lewis. He's our project manager in Papua New Guinea and doing an amazing job. Now we're going up to Papua New Guinea, an ancient country full of diverse cultures and many languages. This is their brand new $3 million fish market. So here we are at Port Moresby, Papua New Guinea, and I'm here with Dr. Wilfred Luss. And we're here at the brand new Koki Fish Market, which is where the majority of the fish from Fisherman's Island comes to be sold, where we will be placing our first reef balls. And Dr. Luss is here to tell us a little bit about the Fishery Project in Papua New Guinea.
Thank you, Chris. The project will bring a lot of benefits to the city dwellers, the people that love fish in their diet, because they can come to the market and purchase very good quality fish. The fish stocks along the coastal communities have been diminishing, and the fishermen have been under a lot of pressure to be able to provide good catches of fish on a daily basis to the demands of the city. We hope that with the placement of the fish reef balls and the growth of the coral reef and the marine biomass would increase the abundance of fish in the marine environment, and also the edible fish available here at the Koki market. How much is this? 70.
Marine protein is not a luxury in Papua New Guinea. Fish is a requirement for life, for subsistence living. And the men and women at this place, Fisherman's Island, they provide it to the capital, to the city, to their own people. And I'm headed out there to go meet with some fishermen and talk about the benefits of the Fish Reef Project. This is a landing craft, and these are the folks that met us on the beach. And after a while getting to know them, they rallied. All 5,000 people rallied in support of the Fish Reef Project. They understood what bringing more fish and more coral to their people means. It didn't take a lot of explaining. These are subsistence fishermen and women. They just want more fish. They just want to be able to live their life. This pig does too. These are my new buddies. We headed out to go have a look at the seafloor around Fisherman's Island. And it turns out that in 42 feet of water is ideal for making about a 5-acre fish reef. It's just hard, flat, packed mud. In the few areas where there's hard bottom, you get coral. So it's a good bet that when we put the fish reef down, we're going to get good coral, and it'll look like this after about 5 years. Thriving, teeming with coral and fish. The fishermen sent a delegation to my hotel a few days later where we signed an accord where they agreed to stop dynamite fishing in their waters permanently, which has been a big problem throughout the years. Jimmy Carter was so impressed, he invited me to the White House to celebrate.
Hello, my name is Vagi Kila and I'm from Fisherman Island in Port Moresby. I'm here to tell you about the Fish Reef Project, which has a number of benefits. The purpose of the Fish Reef Project is to create new fish reefs to protect the environment along coastal areas. One of the tasks the Fish Reef Project will be doing is placing artificial reef balls in places where there are serious overfishing or terrible coral die-offs. Once the marine life increases in those reef balls, research will be conducted consistently over time as the reef expands, as well as the marine life.
I'd like to thank the people of Papua New Guinea and Cook Islands, and we look forward to bringing you new thriving reefs in the near future so that you can sustain your way of life and help restore and enhance the marine ecosystem for generations to come.